All right, welcome back, mates. Crypto Leverage Trading Group. Hope everybody's doing well. We are back looking at Link after a big day today. Obviously, in a lot of the altcoin space, with a lot of altcoins testing and making new highs and actually pushing higher. We've got Ethereum making another new high today, whereas Bitcoin is kind of consolidated again in that 63,000 range, 62.5 to 63.5. Getting a little bit of movement now, probably heading into the last 4-hour candle and 12-hour candle of the day here on Wednesday. But really wanted to retrace we did a video on Link earlier this week. Link is now broken its all-time high levels and has reached out above that $40 level, which was critical, which was a target that we had, obviously, today, reaching 41.91. It's kind of fallen back just a little bit. But again, that 42.40 was the target, okay? We did not get quite there, but we did reach that 40.05 fib extension. You could take that all the way out back to last fall, one of those extensions. So that's another positive note here. One thing from the on-chain is we now don't really have any. Now we have today, obviously, but we don't really have any previous level here above $37, $38 for the on-chain metrics. We've got all that support that we covered earlier this week of the on-chain data. We also have a lot higher whale accumulation now for the month of April versus the months of March and February. So we have more whales moving in to Chainlink. That also is incredibly bullish on the on-chain metrics. We're going to do some videos coming up on these on-chain metrics from everybody so we understand not only what the metrics are that we're looking at. It's not just the in and out of the money, though that's highly critical for entry and exits, especially for leverage traders, because it demonstrates your supply barriers, it demonstrates your accumulation bubbles, but also transaction activity, also social media metrics. We like to look at those as well, and kind of see how those metrics correlate. We also talk about the correlation, obviously, with Bitcoin or Ethereum, and how that plays out. But for the most part, we want to look at addresses, and we can evaluate whether or not, for Chainlink specifically, is whether or not someone is a trader, someone who has held Chainlink for less than 30 days. Whether if you follow some of the on-chain metrics, whether they're a cruiser, which would be more than 30 days but less than a year, or whether or not they're a hodler, which would be a year or more owning Chainlink. Okay, and so we take a look at those addresses and evaluate that on-chain data in terms of, okay, how many of those addresses now are new addresses? How many of those are addresses that have moved Link onto exchanges, right? What's the exchange ratio and those ratios and how they come into play? Are people now at $40 going to move Link back to exchanges here tomorrow and Friday in order to sell now that it's reached out? Or will people continue to hodl Link, hold on to it off their exchanges, and allow Link to continue any FOMO that may come into play here tomorrow because it's reached all-time high levels? And so we have the on-chain support. We know what our support levels are. Now we run the risk of not holding these new levels, okay? And we can get a sell down, profit taking, so a lot of that's going to be depend on. We're sitting right now at a very high elevated on the 2-hour RSI. That's likely we're getting a selling pressure here at the end of the day. And so, that's kind of a critical thing to take a look at. The 4-hour is basically the same with a high elevated RSI. Okay. And so, that's going to come into play tonight. And why I say that is you have your overnight, your Far East trades. You've got a lot of that activity. So we could see some selling pressure here in the overnight with Chainlink. However, it is still a huge thing today. I know a lot of people aren't talking about it because of the Coinbase listing, the Gary Gensler confirmation, the SEC chair, all that stuff. So, it kind of happened on a day where there was a lot of news in crypto that maybe other people were talking about. But still important for those in the Chainlink community. And it's very, very